BIONICLE Adventures 2 Trial by Fire. Written by Greg Farshidi. Narrated by Trajan M. Chapter 3. "We're lost wandering," said Orcam. The Lematoran looked fearfully around at the unfamiliar sights of Ga-Metru. "We're never going to find that great disc." Vizsla gave him a hard look. "We're not lost," the Ga-Matoran snapped. "Just a little turned around." "You said you knew we were ground walking." "I do," Vizsla insisted. "It's around here. Somewhere." "Enough!" Nakama, Toametru of Water, said sternly. "Arguing won't get us to the Great Disk any faster. It might even make things worse, Vizsla," she added, pointing down the avenue. The Ga-Matoran turned to look. Then she gasped and took a step backwards. Standing beside one of the canals up ahead were 3 other Ga-Matoran, all of them watching the approaching group with suspicion. One of them whispered to another, who then ran off toward the great temple. Matau, Toametru of Air, watched the Ga-Matoran disappear and said, "So? They're curious watching. What's the worry?" Nakama dropped her voice to a whisper. "It's more than that. Those Matoran have been claimed by the Bordok, the Ga-Metru Vaki squad. One touch of a Bordok staff and a Matoran becomes so dedicated to order that they will turn in their best friend to preserve it." "Spies," Matau replied. "Then I have a thought plan. If it works, then we meet at the spillway quick soon. Understand?" "Yes, but what—" "Ha! What do you know about great discs?" Matau boomed loud enough for the whole street to hear. "I will find the disc before you 3 can even check one protodam!" Then the toe of air swung up into a chute and was gone. The 2 Matoran down the road seemed to think about it for a moment. Then they dashed off in the direction Matau had gone. Once Nakama was sure they were well away, she started running, dragging Vizsla and Orcam behind her. "Hey, stop it!" Vizsla cried. "They will not be able to find him, and once they realize that, they will come back here. We must be elsewhere." The Toametru of Water led them on a winding path through alleys, behind schools, over walls, and finally to the site of one of Ga-Metru's mini dams. Here, tides of protodermis were held back so as not to overflow the Metru's canal system. Nakama scanned the area, but saw no sign of any Vaki or watchful Matoran. But she did see Matau standing in the middle of the spillway, arms folded across his chest, and smiling. "What took you so long?" he laughed. "You stay here," Nakama said to Vizsla and Orcam. "Keep an eye out for Bordok." Before either could argue, she ran, jumped, flipped in midair, and landed beside Matau. They were standing in a wide stone channel through which liquid protodermis flowed into the canals as needed. Right now it was bone dry, and would stay that way as long as the main valve was closed. "You lost them?" she asked. "No one catches a Toa hero," Matau answered, leaning in close. "Unless, of course, he wants to be caught." "Provided anyone wants to catch him," Nakama replied. "If we let a little protodermis out, we can swim through some of the lesser canals right to the great temple. Vizsla said we'll find the disc there." "Swim?" Matau said with obvious disgust. "A Toa of Air doesn't swim. He high flies." "If he wants to get spotted by the Vaki, he does, yes. Turn the valve just a little and get some protodermis running through here. I'll get the Matoran." Shrugging, Matau walked over to the large wheel that controlled the valve. Then he stopped. "Nakama, this is already open wide." He grabbed the wheel and tried to turn it, but it would not move. "And locked!" "What?" Nakama shouted, rushing toward him. She could already hear the roar of a protodermis wave heading for the spillway. "Matau, get out of here! Get—" The wave smashed into the toe of water, sending her tumbling end over end. An instant later, Matau too was swept up in the flood. Not having Nakama's experience as a swimmer, he had not thought to grab a breath. Now he floundered, hand to his throat as the liquid protodermis filled his mouth and lungs. Nakama extended her hydroblades in front of her and knifed through the protodermis. She slammed into Matau, her momentum carrying them both up toward the lip of the spillway. Then they were out of the liquid, landing hard on the stone ledge. She rolled the Toa of Air over. "Matau! Matau!" she cried. Matau choked and gasped. Then his eyes snapped open and he looked at Nakama, a smile spreading across his face. "I knew you cared." Nakama, Matau, Vizsla, and Orcam walked hurriedly toward the great temple. There was no way to reach it without being seen, but they did their best to stay inconspicuous. For 2 Toametru, it wasn't easy. Matoran looked at them with wonder and awe. sometimes even fear, but none seemed hostile.
In Gametru, go beyond the depths of Toa before, said Nokama. That's what the carving said.
And what does that scratch writing mean? Asked Matao. In the sea, below the great temple, answered Vizsla. Far below. Oh, happy cheer, said Matao, not sounding happy at all.
They circled around behind the great temple.
Only a narrow stone walkway separated the building from the sea. Nokama had already announced that she would be going down alone to retrieve the disc. You and Orcam are not swimmers, she told Matao, but if something goes wrong and I don't return, you will need Vizsla to show you the way out. So she stays here. Matao was going to argue that Toa heroes should work together, but the memory of almost drowning in the protodermis was enough to keep him quiet. Go quick fast then, Toa Nokama. We will be waiting. Nokama nodded, then dove into the turbulent sea of protodermis and vanished beneath the waves. Toa and Matoran stared after her, wondering what she might encounter far below. So caught up were they that they never heard the approach of others until it was too late. Matao glanced to the left and saw to his surprise 3 Bordok, staves at the ready, closing in. 3 more moved toward them from the right, leaving their only escape the cold sea. I hate Gametru, he muttered. Nokama was unaware of what was going on up above. She had reached the very foundation of the great temple and spotted her prize. Wedged between 2 jagged outcroppings up ahead was a great disc. The sight gave her renewed energy. She dove deeper and used all her new Toa strength to pry the disc loose. She checked the 3-digit code and confirmed that, yes, this disc had been made in Gametru and had a power level of 9. Only great discs possess so much raw energy. Smiling, she tucked it under her arm and started for the surface. She never noticed that those 2 jagged outcroppings had been massive teeth, or that their owner objected to her intrusion. She kicked her legs and swam, even as a pair of massive jaws prepared to snap shut upon her. End of Chapter 3.